No, unless you like want to show me something or you want to turn it on. No, I don't have to see it. Let me just pop my headphones in so in case you say something, I can hear it better. 'Cause you're kind of faint right now. All right, this thing's recording. Hey, can you hear me? All right, awesome. So, yeah, welcome to the meeting. Let's jump right into it. Give me a second here. So the other reps they weren't able to make it, so I'm actually gonna record this. Is that fine with you? Oh, oh, you're not bothering me. No. Let's just do it, and I'll record it. I just want to make sure it was cool with you. All right. So last week we had Gina with the sale. So good job to Gina. That's awesome. And then Simon, it was your first week. You got a couple electric bills. That's pretty great. How many did you get? 4. Nice, dude. That's a good first week, man. So let's keep that up. Mike was out sick. He was like in the ER and stuff like that. But before he got sick, he pitched a cop and booked an appointment. So that was a good start. Nikita, I didn't spend a ton of time with him. I know Simon, you were out there in the field. How did Nikita do out there? Nice. So Nikita's getting out there. Nice job, Nikita. Nice. Yeah, thanks for being coachable, Nikita. Really appreciate it. And then we had Tyshawn. He booked some leads too. He's actually not. He's in Hartford somewhere today. I actually don't know what he's doing. I think he's just there, just cause. And then we had Jamar. He booked an appointment for today, and hopefully that one goes good. It's at like 5 or 6 o'clock. Hopefully we'll sell it together. All right, so we're basically just gonna talk about door knocking, just door knocking 101. Okay, so the first thing we want to do when we knock on a door. Here, let me walk over to this door. All right, so we knock on the door, and then what I like to do is I'll take a few steps back just so I'm not like right in their face, you know. Yeah, I'm actually gonna stand over here. So yeah, I'll knock on the door, then I'll take, you know, I'll go back like 5 or 10 feet, and then instead of facing them like face to face where it's like my chest towards theirs, I try to stand sideways, just because if you're facing them like forward, like this, instead of like sideways, it kind of psychologically like puts in their brain that you're kind of like going against them in a sense. But if you stand sideways, it's better body language. And then a lot of people, when they just get into door to door, when after they knock on a door, they'll start getting like kind of fidgety. They'll start dancing with their feet. They'll just do things that show the client that, you know, they're not comfortable. So what I like to do, and what a lot of the great sales reps like to do, is basically like lean on something. So you knock on the door, back away, stand side. Then you find like a nice wall or something. You know, put your feet like this, lean up against the wall. And that way, like if someone has, you know, dancing feet, you're pretty much planted. And then psychologically, if you put yourself in a comfortable position, you're more likely to feel comfortable, and then so are they. And if there's no wall, just simply like crossing your feet like this kind of does the same thing, because then you're not you can't really dance around. And then basically the body language is telling yourself and the customer that you're feeling safe. Because if you have your foot crossed over, someone could just push you over, you know. But you're feeling comfortable that they're not gonna attack you, and they feel like you're not gonna attack them. You also want to show them your hands so they can see your hands. I mean, that's that's another big thing. Does that make sense so far? Yeah, that's a good one. If you have like a pen and a clipboard and you just have something to do, yeah. Right. Yeah, yeah, for sure. S-
The board and just like attempt to write something down. Because a lot of times, like the anxiety creeps in when you're waiting.
mhm.
So it's like that awkward moment is like, oh, are they gonna shoot me? Are they gonna stab me? Are they gonna give me a cookie? You know what I'm saying? Like you're just waiting for them to open
Yeah,
the door.
yeah,
So like that helps just writing a thought down, or even like doodling like a stick figure or something. Like really helps to kind of fill that space in and make it look like you're doing something, like you're getting a survey or some shit.
yeah. So that's great. So guys, Simon, it wasn't loud enough for you guys to hear, but he got 4 electric bills yesterday, so things are working. And what he said has been working for him is basically getting a clipboard, and then as you're waiting for the customer, kind of be jotting things down. So that's been really working for him, and I've tried similar things, and it works well as well. And another thing you can do is like, instead of knocking on the door and then just like staring at the door, because like if they like look out the door before coming out, and you're just like staring at them all eager, like you look like you're gonna pounce on them, like they're not into that. But if you can literally like look down, or sometimes, like I was never into this, but it worked for some other reps. Like you could literally face almost the other way and like be jotting on a clipboard. So instead of you trying to get their attention, they come out and they try to get your attention. They're like,
Oh, that's a good one.
so like, yeah, if you're literally facing the other way, or like slightly the other way, like you could like start looking at the other houses and like writing stuff down, and then now they're trying to get a hold of you. But if you're like right in their face, all eager, it like turns them out. But now you're kind of like flipping the script on them, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
It makes absolute sense for real.
Cool. Okay. So the other thing, like we want to take advantage of so pretty much the reality is any time of the day is great for selling, whether it's morning, afternoon, lunch, dinner. Like the weather doesn't matter, but there is certain things we can do during different times of day to just increase the likelihood of having a successful day. Like for example, during the day, like 9 to 5 on weekdays especially, it's important to look for signs of life. So basically, my favorite thing is to look for 2 cars in the driveway. If there's 2 cars in the driveway, there's most likely someone home. So I don't like walk and hit every door. I'll drive around. I'll use a one wheel, and I'll specifically hit the houses where I think people are home. It's a lot more efficient. So if there's 2 cars in the driveway, that's a good one. If the front door is open, that's a good one. If the lights are on, that's a good one. If they're literally outside, obviously, like if someone's out walking, obviously you can literally see them. That's a good one. And then there's other things you want to look out for too as well. Like if there's cars in the driveway but all the blinds are drawn, like there's like it's like 12 o'clock, but like literally there's like heavy duty blinds and everything's closed, like that person probably works night shift. So you can knock it, but like you might piss them off. So like if you see blinds drawn, you might want to hit that after, you know, after like 3 o'clock, because like they're probably still sleeping. So it's subtle stuff like that. And then the goal is to actually stay in the same neighborhood as long as possible and just milk every penny, because mathematically and logically, like if all your leads are close together, you're just spending less time driving. And a lot of people, they need a bunch of touch points. So for example, it's Monday, you start on a street, you hit like every house with signs of life, then you go to the next street, the next street, the next street, you hit the 4 streets. Now it's 4 or 5 o'clock, you go back, you hit that first street again, you catch a bunch more people home, second one, 3rd street, 4th street, you catch all the people you didn't catch earlier, but you're still not going to catch everybody. Then basically Tuesday comes around, you do the same thing. Maybe someone has a day off on Tuesday, you catch them, you pick up a couple more people, you come back in the evening, you pick up a couple more people, and then let's say you're at like 40-50% penetration, where you talk to 40-50% of the people. Now basically it's Wednesday. You want to probably hit like the next 4 streets, kind of do the same thing. And then when the weekend rolls around, you want to hit like all those streets, because basically now, like all the people that you didn't catch on morning or afternoon on a weekday, like they're probably home on the weekend. So basically the goal is to get to like 80-90% penetration in a small area, and basically drop a little note in Google Maps. Like basically you drop a little flag with what you kind of talked about, and then next time you hit, like after you get through 80-90% penetration, you're gonna like move on to another section of the town. What I like to do is I divide my area into a square, and then I put it into quarters. So I take one square, I try to get to 80-90% penetration, then I'll move to the next one, then the next one, then the next one, and then I'll restart on the first one. But now I kind of have an advantage, because I know what some of their objections are, because I dropped a thing on the Google map. Also, they see my face, and just psychologically, the more someone sees your face, the more they trust you. Like it's just easier for you to sell. The more like they see you in the neighborhood over and over, and it just makes it a lot easier. So in recap, 80-90% penetration, hit the area over and over, hit signs of life, hit it at different times of day, morning, afternoon, evening, and then weekend is its own category basically. So that's pretty much it as far as like area tracking goes. And then our mentality is like, should be like I'm doing you a favor, and we need to have like the abundance mindset. Like there's enough rooftops, and we don't need everybody to do it. Like realistically, even like 1, 2, 3 deals a week, I mean that's pretty life-changing money for most people. And we want to be the needed, not the needy. So if we come off like we need them to go solar, they're not going to be interested. But if we come off as being the needed, so that's what we have to tell ourselves. We're the needed, not the needy. And people, they don't buy off of logic. It's more emotional and conviction. So as long as we have a deeper conviction about them going solar versus them not, like we should have some success being out there, if that makes sense. And then makes sense, right?
Yeah, but what do you mean by conviction?
Like you just to boil it down into like a phrase, what I mean by that is like certainty. You just want to be more certain than they are. Like for example, what I know deep down is like, for example, in Hawaii, like 30 or 40% of the people went solar, and the reason why is their rates are high and they have good sun. So over here, our rates are pretty much just as high now. We don't have as good of a sun, but we combat that with a couple more panels added. So I know that people are gonna go solar, about half of them, like with or without me. So if I exude that, like I'm certain that people are going solar and that they're gonna go solar, like regardless of how they're acting. They kind of like buy into that frame. So that's what I mean by that. Did that make
Interesting.
Did that make sense or no?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing about signs of life that I kind of forgot to bring up, when you're pitching people, you can also like ask like, hey, like if there's like one car in the driveway, but you want like more information, you could just be like, hey, like do you think the person next door is home, or this person? Because some of the people, there is only one car in the driveway and they're actually home. I wouldn't knock them all, but if the neighbor says, hey, like they're most likely home, that could be worth it as well. And then the other thing, it's important to be confident, and just think of it like this: everyone has their own doubts and insecurities. So, and we do too. So there's no reason to not be confident. And what I like to do if I'm not feeling confident is I just start thinking about all the times that I won. It doesn't even have to be in solar. Like it could be like when you were in some sporting thing and you won, you got like more points or whatever. It could be in solar. You could think about the last time you got a lead.
So the winner mindset, yeah, the
Yeah.
abundance mindset again, like you were talking about.
Exactly. And the other thing I like to do, I haven't really been doing it lately, but it's a good idea, is like just doing like power poses. So like just even like for example, like going like this, like on both sides, like just hands on your hips, like and then just thinking to yourself like, this is my street, like literally like walk down the middle of the street as if you own the whole street, like you walk up to the house as if it's your house, your doorstep. And basically like with that kind of mentality, it just makes it a lot easier if you just think you like literally own the whole street, if that makes sense. So like just try, like literally walk down like the middle, like point at the houses, like look at them, like you got to know like what you're doing, you know what I mean?
Pretty much, like set yourself for like mentally set yourself up for success.
Exactly, because this is it's not even really about the words that we use. It's mentality. It's our tonality. The other thing, we kind of want to end things in a downward tone, not like an upward tone. Like for example, like do you have an electric bill? It kind of sounds like I'm not sure. Like it's a question. Um, so I guess it applies more to transitioning inside, which I'll talk about more in a second. But like, for example, like if I say, here, I'm just gonna jot down a couple notes. Is there a table? Is there a table I could set this down at? It sounds like a question. It is a question, but the tonality also sounds like a question. Versus, you can say the same words and you can be like, oh, is there a table I could set this down at? It's basically like a downward tone. Even though it's a question, it sounds like a command, and it like registers a little more, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Or was that kind of not making sense?
Could you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, so like when it's time, so after you see that they're somewhat interested, what you're gonna want to do is transition inside the house. So like let's say you're holding your clipboard, you're just like, so then you just tell them, hey, is there a place I can set this down at? But you want to make sure it goes at like a downward tone with your tonality, because if you're like, hey, is there a place I could set this down at? Then you're kind of like looking for their approval. It sounds like a question, versus like, oh, is there a place I could set this down at? And then you like lean forward, point with your finger. You know what I mean?
I know it makes sense now.
Okay. And it pretty much you pretty much want to do this with like every like command or whatever you want to call it, or every transition, and people respond to it really well. But if you make it sound like a question, it sounds like you're not sure, and then you know they it's easier for them to shut you down essentially. And then as far as eye contact goes, this is something that I had a problem with and I still do sometimes. But basically, if someone has problem with eye contact, you pretty much want to like look at them for like a few seconds, you know, break it for a few seconds, look at them for a few seconds. Like you don't want to be like staring at them like into their soul, or you're not breaking eye contact at all. And you also don't want to be like looking off to the side the whole time. Otherwise, it shows like you're not, you know, trustworthy and so on. The other thing I like to do is point at things just to grab their attention. Like I like to point at like other people that have gone solar. I like to look at the electric lines. I like to show them like a slick with their electric bills, stuff like that, you know. So the transition, that's a really important part in this process, and there's a couple different transitions. So let's say you go through your entire pitch, and I talked about it a little bit earlier, but let's say you go through your entire pitch and it looks like they're into it. And even if they're not into it, you'd be surprised. I would still go for the transition and kind of see what happens, because you know we have nothing to really lose. But basically, like, you finish your pitch, you have a clipboard, and you're making eye contact with them, right? You're making eye contact with them. But then when it comes to the transition, you look down, you know, you're taking notes on your phone or your clipboard, and then you make eye contact. You're talking, so you can just be like, hey, so what's gonna happen is I'm gonna jot down a few notes, and then I'll be out of your hair. And then you hold your clipboard as if it's like kind of hard to carry, and like you break eye contact, and you just say, hey, yeah, I'll put my phone down so you can actually like see me. So I'll be like, I'm making eye contact, right? And then I break eye contact, and I look past them, and I'm like, and then I'm like holding the clipboard, and I'm like, hey, is there a place I can set this down? And I'm like leaning forward. I'm leaning forward, and I'm pointing, and if you make eye contact and do this, it's very combative, and like it doesn't go as well. But if you break eye contact, you look past them, like into the house, you point, you lean forward. And as long as they go out of the way, like they're giving you consent to walk in. So you walk in. Now you're in the house, and then right where in your house, you just go, hey, you want my shoes? You want my shoes on or off? And then you'd be like, is there a table I could sit at? And then preferably you don't sit on the couch. You don't sit you don't get stuck right there in the lobby. You go specifically to the table. So if they try to put me on the couch, I tell them, hey, this is a little too comfortable. I'm probably gonna fall asleep. Like, do you mind if we go to the kitchen table? And definitely don't stand, because people make decisions like while sitting. So you want to basically get to the kitchen table. You want to get them sitting. And then this training, it's not about the clothes, so we're not really gonna go into that. But this is to basically set up, get in the house and set up an appointment, and then
get a lead. Yeah.
Get a lead. And then the other thing about a lead is when you book an appointment, you want to do things to kind of make it more solid. So for example, what I would like to do is I would like to do like arrival windows, and then I would just kind of, so basically what I would do is I would like sell for 5-6 hours, and I would book a bunch of appointments all between 4 to 6, and then there would be like some one-off that I did at another time if they couldn't do it. So I'll just be like, hey, I'll come by sometime between 4 to 6. Does that sound good? And if they say yeah, I'll take it a step farther. And a lot of times people, they'll just say that to kind of like get you to screw off, and they're not actually serious about the appointment. So for me to kind of make sure that they're serious, first of all, I get like their name, I get their phone number. If they don't give you that stuff, like they're just not serious yet. Like, and it's either because they're not interested or we didn't do a good job. But let's say they give you all that information and they say it's fine. What you're gonna want to do next is say, hey, so I'll see you tomorrow between 4 to 6. I'm gonna be driving about 20 minutes to get here. Can I count on you for sure to be here at that time? And if they say, oh, you know what, no, like I can't make it, like it's not like you ruined the sale or anything. It's actually they were just not serious about it to begin with. So then you can kind of go farther and say, hey, like, okay, so I get it, that time doesn't work. Or like, what are mornings or afternoons usually better? Like let's figure out a time that like definitely works. And if they're serious, you'll find like another time. If they're not, you move on. That way you're not like wasting your time. So like what I like to do is just get like 6 to 8 appointments, and then after I leave the house, I'll text them like, hey, it was nice meeting you. I'll see you tomorrow at between 4 to 6 or whatever time that you scheduled at. And in the morning, I'll text them all to confirm like, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you. And if I didn't collect the electric bill yet, I'll just say, hey, like, can you send me your electric bill or at least have it ready? And guess what? Whoever ends up responding first or like showing anything positive, I'm gonna go to that house first. And usually it ends up being a pretty good result at like that one. And then you schedule the other ones between 4 to 6. So like you get in that first one at 4. You could even go there a little early, like 3:40, whatever. You can wrap it up by 5:30. Then you still have time to go to another one. Let's say you go to another one, they're not even home. You go to another one, they tell you to screw off. You go to the third one because you set like 8, they let you in. But then you have like 2 or 3 more left. So right when you go in, it actually makes it super solid. But basically, right when you go in, you say, hey, give me a second, Mr. Customer. I'm just gonna let my next appointment know that I'm running late, and then you just text or call your next appointment. Just say, call's better. Like, hey, I'm actually sitting with one of your neighbors. I'm wrapping things up. I'm gonna be running behind. I'm gonna swing by a little later at 7, and then you're basically making both people more solid because basically like the customer that you're with, they can see that you're busy and you're making things happen. And same thing with like the second appointment too. And then you can just be like, hey, like I have other appointments to go, so let's just jump right into it. And then you kind of get into the presentation, if that makes sense. And then there's other transitions, huh?
What's up?
Hey, what's up? Is that Ty?
This is Jamar. My fault, man. I was sorry for running a little late, but I'm here now.
No, good to see you, man. Thanks for hopping on. So I'm actually recording this as well, so I can send you the recording as long as I figure out how to do that. But it's recording, and I think I can put it on a Google Drive. Thanks for hopping on, man. So right now we're talking about the door pitch and transitioning and so on.
I've been here for a little minute, so I heard you.
All right, cool, man. So going right into the house isn't the only transition. So there's a lot of different ones, and some people, they're a little more comfortable getting the customer out here. Let me get a drink of water real quick. I'm parched here. 1 second. So sometimes it's a little intimidating for sales reps to go right from the doorstep like into the house. So sometimes what's a little easier is I'll be like, hey, is your meter, is it on the left or right side? And if you see like the wires running up above, you kind of know where it's at, and you can just be like, hey, let's go take a look at it. And then you literally like turn your back to them. Like you literally turn your back to them. I can't really do it. Like you basically like say like, hey, like the meter, is it on the left or right side? The left? Okay, let's go take a look at it. And then you literally start walking, and like if they follow you outside, like you're doing good. You basically walk over to the meter. You walk over to the meter. Let's say the meter's right there, and you say, hey, so right now this meter is spinning forward. Every time you use a kilowatt of power, it spins forward, and you pay money, whatever. If we can put solar on your roof, it's actually going to spin backwards, so you can get paid. And I'm guessing your electric panel's right. So the meter's right here, and the electric panel's typically in the basement right below. So I'll be like, hey, I'm guessing your electrical panel's right there. Yeah? Okay, let's go take a look at it. And then I literally start walking, leading them toward their own front door. And like, as long as they're following you, like they're hooked, like they're sold. You get to the electric panel, you look at it, you take some pictures. You be like, hey, so I don't know, like depending on how it looks, I don't know if this is gonna work. They're gonna take a closer look. Is there a table I can sit down at? And boom, now you're at the table essentially. So that's one transition. Another transition could be, oh, what side of the roof do you think like gets more sun, like the front or the back? And then you can again turn your back, motion to them, and just be like, yeah, let's go take a look. And if you can get them to like come outside to look at their roof, and then you bring them to the meter, like let's go look at the meter, then to the electric panel. Sometimes it's a little smoother to get in the house.
Yeah, that is true. I noticed that too.
Like the meter works really good.
Submit to one or two requests, then locked in, you know.
Yeah, and then another one that's like even a little softer is like if you're at their doorstep, you can just be like, hey, you mind if I sit right there? Because then if you sit on their doorstep, they know you're gonna like talk to them for a few minutes, and then even before that, like another transition's like, oh, what's the best phone number to reach you at? Boom. How do you spell your name? Boom. Our mornings or afternoons better? Boom. Like it's they're all pretty much like mini transitions, and as long as they're following along, you pretty much have them in the right spot. Is that confusing at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. And then when they say no, like you first of all, we need to expect them to say no, like at least 4 or 5 times, so we're not surprised. Because if we're expecting yeses, then it kind of messes with us psychologically. We want to actually be expecting the no's, and then we overcome them after like the 4th or 5th no. We want to talk with certainty, like this is something that's happening, because people, they don't buy logic, they buy like the depth of how certain and convicted we are. Let's see what else. Okay. And then as far as our emotions go, we want to try to be like even keeled, like right in the middle. As far as it's like, for example, let's say you sell a deal, it's $10,000. Like a lot of times when people are new and they sell like a $10,000 deal, they go boom, they're like way up here. Oh my gosh, like this is the best day ever. Like I made 10 grand. I've never done that before. And then like, let's say they like cancel or whatever, and boom, all of a sudden like they're down there. But like the best reps, they're hovering close to the middle. Like they're just going like that. So like if they sell a deal, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like I sold a deal. And then if they don't sell a deal, it doesn't really like phase them as much. So as long as we stay like in the middle, kind of like a more stoic mindset, like this job gets a little easier. Because if you're going up and down, like you're just gonna, we're just gonna drain ourselves. Essentially. And the other thing is, in solar, like if we're working really hard, we're gonna have bad news daily. So we want to have bad news. So what I mean by that is like if we book one solar appointment and it cancels, like it sucks. But if we book 8 and like there's a no-show, let's say you had a deal that you sold and it ends up like not qualifying because the roof is like fucked up and it's for some reason it's like not fixable. You want to be in a position where there's like problems happening every day, because if there's problems happening every day, it means there's shit happening. But if you only have like 1 or 2 problems, anyways, the point is you want to be working so hard where there's always people canceling, people missing appointments, accounts not qualifying, because that means like you're also getting shit done and things are happening, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Let's see what else. And we don't want to like chase people too long either. Like if they're not into it, like it's pretty easy to go get another one. When we're at the door, we want to be thinking, hey, I'm supposed to be here. I belong here. This is my street. We want to be name dropping people. Like so, if I'm pulling up to a new street, I like to find the people that have solar first, and then I talk to them. I pitch them an add-on. I get their name, see how their experience is, and then when I talk to other people on the street, I'll name drop them. I'll be like, hey, do you know this person with the solar? And it makes it a lot easier. The other thing is, I noticed talking slow helps, because like, let's say you knock on the door and you're like, hey, my name's Yuri, the reason why I'm here, da, 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 da. It's almost like, it's psychologically telling them that like, hey, I'm about to shut my door, and like and this person just trying to spit out as many words as possible before I shut the door, and everyone shuts the door. But if we're talking like a bit slower, it it actually like grabs their attention more. And we're just remember this: we're not under the gun. Like no one's holding a gun to us, and like we can talk slow. And I would say if we talk slow, it will slow them down too. And when they say something, you don't have to like respond literally a second after. You can pause and think for a couple seconds and talk slow, and it helps control the situation. And you want to pay attention to their body language and how your body language is, and so on. Let me see. And basically the layout of the pitch is you talk about the problem, like electricity rates is getting super expensive. You talk about the solution, which is solar. You also want to let them know, hey, it might not work out. Like I don't know if this electric panel is gonna work. And you want to transition. And then whenever they give you an objection, you kind of want to circle sell. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're going through your pitch and they hit you with like some random objection. You want to like acknowledge it. A really easy way to acknowledge like any objection is you just go, hey, that's exactly why I'm here. A lot of your neighbors felt the same way, and what they found is, and then you address it lightly, and then you go back into your pitch and you transition. And let's say they stop you with some other objection, you want to pretty much like overcome it and then restart or continue on with the pitch, and just kind of go in circles until you get in the house, or they tell you to leave, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. And then yeah, so as long as we're tracking area, we're using counter. Like the reason why counter in tracking areas is really important is a lot of people they'll knock on like a couple streets and they think like the whole area is done, and then they go to like this area and that area. Now their leads are spread out, and now they're just wasting a ton of time driving. Because the only way we get paid, guys, is by knocking on basically being belly to belly to customers. If we're driving, that's not selling time. Like if we're walking, that's not selling time. Like the only time we actually get paid is if we're having a conversation with the customer at a door or at the table. And the reality is, if we have leads everywhere and we're driving everywhere, we're just spending less time selling. So it just doesn't make sense. So that's why it's important to track like how many conversations we're having to kind of get the sales predictable. Because if we know, hey, if every 150 conversations I get a signed contract, then you know, hey, if I do 300, I'll have 2, and so on. That way the sale becomes more predictable. So it's really important that we track our KPIs, we track our area, and the goal is, again, is to get 80 to 90% penetration. I'm about to run out of time on this Zoom, so we can actually wrap it up. I don't know if you guys have any like questions, thoughts, or feedback. I think I don't exactly know when it's going to end, but I got a warning like 10 minutes ago that we're going to be out of time.
Okay.
Do you guys have any like questions, thoughts, feedback? But like basically, like you want to like work your area and milk every penny. Like 80-90% of the people we should talk to. So like Monday, like for example, today's Monday, we hit one street with everyone with signs of life, 2 cars in the driveway. We hit the next street. Let's say we hit 4 or 5 streets. 5 o'clock rolls around. We go back to that first street. We catch all the rest of the people that aren't home. Tuesday we kind of do the same thing because some people have Tuesday off, whatever. And then Wednesday we go choose like another 4 streets, kind of do the same thing. Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday you want to start from that first street and hit all those 8 streets to see like all the people that we didn't catch. That way all your leads are close by, they're together, people are seeing you over and over. And then that's kind of the psychology, because in one small zip code you can pull 400 or 500 installs, no problem, but it just makes it a little harder if we're bouncing all over the place. But do you guys have any like questions about anything or anything?
No questions.
All right.
You said everything.
All right, well, let's run it up. Give me a call or text if you guys need anything. And Jamar, is the appointment Hey, if you got this far and you're still listening, thank you so much. Let's get out there and kick ass.